What's going on, y'all? Random thoughts here. And tonight I was going through LinkedIn as I normally do in the evenings. I'll usually scroll through and like read news. Some nights, other nights I'll read, whatever. But tonight I was on here and I saw a Cloud Guru post these interesting stats, right? So most in-demand expertise. We have the obvious AWS. We have the not so obvious Azure, which I was, rather surprised about. We have GCP, and then we have other, I'm assuming like Linode and services, DigitalOcean and services like that, cloud services. So yeah, I don't know. I was like shocked about Azure. Not so much about like, their kind of push for multi-cloud. I mean, obviously it's beneficial for a cloud guru to do that, but and companies as well. Like we'll get into that in a second. It's not just a cloud guru. But the takeaway here is, this is 600,000 plus, course completions. So that's, what they're, that's who they're analyzing the data on. Whether or not it was accurate, I'm not entirely sure. But the takeaways, it's shocking to me. It's actually, it's really interesting. I'd love to dive into this data, this 600,000 plus course completions, and get an understanding of whether or not they were currently using Azure or whatever that might be. But interesting either way. Azure, here I come. I already work a bit. I already work on AWS and obviously GCP, because I've done some videos on GCP previously, but Azure is looking pretty decent these days. But I would advise downloading the data sheet. Of course, they're gonna ask you for some data, your name, email, if you work at a company, what that company is, these kinds of things. But in my opinion, it's worth it. I mean, obviously they're gonna hit you up to try and get you signed up to a Cloud Guru, but this is great data. Why not? You're getting something and they're getting something. So this is I'm not gonna go through it obviously because they want you to download it. You should download it. Check it out, read into it. But like I said, understand, that how they obtain that data is, can be questioned, of course. But a while back, it made me think, about multi-cloud in general. In 2019, before, all the craziness went down, I was invited to do Tech Debate, which is pretty cool. So this was a battle, battle for the cloud. And this is AWS versus Google Cloud versus Azure, versus hybrid or multi-cloud, whatever you want to call it. So this event was pretty cool because it was like, it was a bunch of, CEOs and CIO and then there was me, and I think I was like doing test stuff at the time before I was in SRE. So it was like some very super knowledgeable people, and then me, an engineer. And, really it's interesting because like, despite their obvious, they had them having more experience than myself, we all came to the conclusion that, a multi-cloud approach, is ideal. We didn't really determine that, one was better than the other. And this was at the time, of course, this was 2019. This is what we determined. So that's what we came to the conclusion of. At the time, I was primarily working with GCP. I really loved it for GKE. We had other people in there for AWS. They loved it for security reasons, and S3, of course, and for them, the simplicity, and then someone else with the knowledge of Azure, because they were, at the time, I believe, .NET focused, and there's some obvious benefits there. But the main takeaway here was that, back in the day for tech, 2019, all of us came to the conclusion that multi-cloud was beneficial, kind of for the sole purpose of, fitting a use case, whether or not that means, taking advantage of whatever best offering that particular cloud has, Google, GKE, in my opinion, machine learning, the data aspects. So things like that, and then of course, multi-cloud by mistake, maybe smaller companies, kind of falling into that trap earlier on, and then realizing like how difficult it is to like integrate across clouds, with a small team, I should say. The larger teams, easier, of course. But anyways, I thought this was interesting. This is, of course, my random thoughts. And if you have any thoughts on this, feel free to comment below or have a discussion with me, because this is, I don't know, this is one of those things that's super interesting to me still, because I'm personally seeing a lot more organizations use a multi-cloud approach into the medium to larger size organizations that I've seen. But anyways, hope you enjoyed. See you later.